Disclaimers. All right, so do you have to use one? Like, do you really have to use a disclaimer in an Instagram post? What's a disclaimer for? What does it do? I'm Maria Spiralis from the Legal Apothecary, a practice that serves coaches, healers, intuitives, and content creators. Let's talk about disclaimers. And by the way, here's mine. Okay, so what's a disclaimer? It feels like common sense, right? Here's an analogy for you. When you're walking through, let's say Whole Foods, and you see the caution wet floor sign in front of what is obviously a wet floor. Yeah, some of it's a little bit of common sense. You know, by being a human being with eyes and exercising your common sense, that if you step on a wet floor, you might slip and hurt yourself. But from Whole Foods' perspective, they might be opening themselves up to a lot of legal liability, that means risk, if they don't have that sign. So disclaimers are like that caution wet floor sign for your content. So think of it as a notice. And by the way, it does nothing for you if people can't see it. That's why the caution wet floor sign is like yellow with exclamation points, right? It's supposed to be conspicuous. Otherwise, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve your business. And there are a bunch of places where you might see a disclaimer. Yes, you might see one on an Instagram post. You also might see one where there are affiliate links. You might see one on a sponsored post. You might see them on websites. You might see them on testimonials, right? No results guaranteed type of thing. And they might be in your contract. Okay, so back to that list. First, affiliate link. This type of disclaimer puts people on notice that you might get a little cash money if they click on that link. There are a bunch of ways to phrase an affiliate link disclaimer so that it doesn't sound cheesy or too formal or off-brand. Your website. Website disclaimers can come in a boatload of different forms. If you're giving medical or legal or professional-like education, a disclaimer would say, hey, everything on this website is educational, informational. Don't make any decisions about your health, legal status, finances without consulting a professional, because we are not your medical provider, financial advisor, law firm, right? If you're selling physical products on your website, a disclaimer might say something about the function of the products, or that colors on the screen might look different on the screen than in hand. Testimonials. Technically, this could be on your website too. It can also be anywhere that you display testimonials, like on a sales page. But basically, you're saying results are not guaranteed. And speaking of your contract, for coaches, a disclaimer might say something about the limitations of your license and your expertise, what you can and can't do. It's basically covering your if someone has a claim against you. For my kind of metaphysical, intuitive people, some kind of disclaimer about there being no guarantee in the healing process, and maybe suggesting that they consult with a healthcare provider or something like that, depending on what the engagement is for. And again, back to covering a limitation of liability disclaimer. This can come in a bunch of different forms too, but it basically says, hey, we're not liable if XYZ happens. And maybe even if we are liable, we're only liable up to X amount. That's essentially a limitation of liability disclaimer. So we talked through why you might need a disclaimer, what a disclaimer does, that caution wet floor sign for your content, and all the different places you might see a disclaimer. I hope you find that helpful. And hey, head to spear-ip.com and sign up for my totally free 10-minute training where I go through a website in real time and I pick out the little legal hotspots that I see from time to time on people's websites. Think things like the TM symbol should go here. Maybe a disclaimer might be useful there. You can even follow along on your own website. Again, that's spear-ip.com.